Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. For government employees appointed after 2005, the last 2 decades have been, well, let's just say they've been marked by a pretty heavy sense of uncertainty. People have been constantly asking, how exactly is my retirement going to be secured? Well, today we are finally unpacking the long-awaited resolution to that massive question. The Maharashtra Civil Services Implementation of National Pension System Rules 2026. We'll be basing this on a really comprehensive analysis by Professor Dr. Rahul Karat, and we're going to look at the new legal framework that finally brings some clarity to the state's workforce. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with Section 1, the 2026 rules explained. Then Section 2, the 10% and 14% math. Section 3 covers plan administration. Section 4 is all about family safety nets. Section 5 goes over retirement withdrawals. And finally, Section 6, an NPS versus OPS reality check.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the 2026 rules explained, resolving years of ambiguity.
Looking at this timeline, it's actually kind of wild to think about. The national pension system was introduced for new employees way back on November 1st, 2005. And yes, it literally took nearly 21 years, but on May 14th, 2026, the government finally notified the official implementation rules. So for the first time ever, this actually provides a stabilized, legally binding framework that governs the whole shebang, everything from fund management right down to family rights.
So who exactly gets covered here? These rules put a structure in place for regular state civil servants across all sorts of departments, like education, health, revenue, you name it. But, and this is absolutely crucial to note, they explicitly exclude non-regular staff. So daily wagers, casual or contract workers, and officers of the All India services, they aren't part of this specific framework. This is laser-focused on long-term regular state employees. Moving right along to Section 2, the 10% and 14% mass, building your wealth.
Okay, let's talk numbers, because your retirement corpus is built on this really specific dual contribution formula. As an employee, you are on the hook to contribute 10% of your basic pay plus dearness allowance every single month. But here is the kicker. The Maharashtra government actually steps up with a larger 14% contribution. Because the state's throwing in a heavier share, your retirement fund has the potential to grow a lot faster. Let's make this totally concrete with a quick example. Say your base salary and dearness allowance add up to 70,000 rupees. Your 10% deduction is 7,000 rupees, right? Well, the government matches that with their 14% contribution, which is 9,800 rupees. Add those up, and that means a total of 16,800 rupees is flowing into your retirement account every single month. When you let that compound over a 30-year career, that is the engine of your financial security right there. Let's move to Section 3, plan administration, accountability and transparency. Right at the very center of this whole system is your PRAN, your Permanent Retirement Account Number. Think of this as your financial DNA for retirement. It literally stays with you for your entire career, tracking every single rupee of your contributions, the government's matching funds, and all those market-linked returns. Now, the 2026 rules mandate a super strict, time-bound process. The goal here is to completely eliminate those frustrating administrative delays we used to see all the time. The very second an employee joins the service, the Drawing and Dispersing Officer, or DDO, along with the Treasury, has to initiate registration. Your PRAN must be activated immediately, no excuses. This lets you track your account digitally and completely transparently from day one. And this introduces a massive new layer of protection that is just a real game changer. What happens if the administration drags its feet and your contribution isn't deposited on time? Well, under the new rules, officials face real financial accountability. If there is a delay because of administrative negligence, the government is legally required to pay interest to cover your financial loss. Plus, action can actually be taken against the officials who messed up.
All right, Section 4, family safety nets, death and disability protocols.
For over a decade, the biggest source of anxiety for state employees was this exact question. What would actually happen to my family if I were to pass away or suffer a permanent disability while on duty? It's a dark thought, but under the original NPS rollout, the Social Security net for that worst-case scenario honestly felt pretty incomplete. But the 2026 rules bring a huge shift in reality here. Previously, a family whose breadwinner died early in their career had to rely solely on the accumulated NPS corpus. And if they died early on, that corpus might have been terribly small. But now, eligible families or employees facing permanent disability can actually opt to receive family pension benefits based on the old pension scheme rules instead.
This adds a deeply necessary, very human layer of social security to the whole system.
Next up, Section 5, Retirement Withdrawals, Accessing Your Funds.
So fast forward to the end of your career, when you finally reach retirement. You don't just take all the cash out in one giant briefcase. You are permitted to withdraw a specific portion of your corpus as a lump sum. But with whatever is left over, you are legally mandated to purchase an annuity from a recognized provider. That annuity is what actually pays your regular monthly pension. You've got options, too. You can choose a joint life plan that covers your spouse, or maybe a plan that returns the purchase price upon death. It's a highly structured process, heavily coordinated between your DDO, the Treasury, and the Central Record-Keeping Agency.
Finally, Section 6, an NPS versus OPS reality check, a neutral analysis.
Relying on Dr. K.Rahual's objective analysis here, the fundamental difference between the two systems just comes down to financial structure. The old pension scheme, or OPS, is a defined benefit system, meaning the government takes on the risk, guaranteeing a specific pension amount based on your final salary, and it's protected against inflation by the dearness allowance. The NPS, on the flip side, is a defined contribution system. Your wealth grows with the market. So while it definitely offers the potential for high returns over a 30-year career, the ultimate size of your pension carries individual risk based entirely on market performance.
And listen, it is absolutely crucial to understand the specific realities of the NPS. First off, NPS annuities generally lack guaranteed dearness allowance indexation. In plain English, that means a fixed monthly pension might lose its purchasing power as decades of inflation roll by. Also, your final corpus is completely subject to market volatility right around the time you retire. Because you're the one making choices about fund managers, equity exposure, and annuity types, the NPS demands a significantly higher level of financial literacy from you. You have to pay attention. So, the big takeaway is captured perfectly by Dr. K.Rahual here. These rules, they do not put an end to the broader ideological debate. They don't silence the demands for a return to the old pension scheme. However, what they do achieve is undeniable. They bring immediate, much-needed legal transparency, actual administrative accountability, and truly vital Social Security protections to the state's workforce today. Which leaves us with the ultimate question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. With the 14% government match, the strict financial penalties for administrative delays, and that critical new OPAS safety net for families in the event of a tragedy, does this modernized market-linked framework now offer the structure you need to secure your financial future? It is undoubtedly a complex system that requires you to be actively engaged. But hey, at least the rules of the game are finally clear. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, and I'll catch you next time.